Good, beautiful morning, everybody. Welcome. It's Monday, September the 19th, 2022. And today I have with me the energy of Archangel Metatron, who wanted to discuss the Matrix and what it is and how to begin to break free of it. You know, the Matrix, a lot of people watch the movies and think that the Matrix is something outside of you that has to be dealt with, like somebody or something, a group or an organization that's in charge of what's going on. The Matrix is your mind. It is your mind. It is the mind that has been made up for you by the world. It's not who you are, but many of you believe that you are the contents of your mind, that the name that you've been given, the information and experience you had, constitute the nature of who you are wholly. And yet, in truth, the nature of who you are is that which can observe, alter, change, and re-articulate the contents of that thing you call your mind. Good morning, everybody. We're going to get a little bit more. Good morning, Marigold. Hi, Christopher. Hello, Daniela. And we'll add our Facebook people to this that have usernames. Remember, towards the end of the program, you can ask questions. And on this subject matter, we have reserved Fridays now for all of our viewers to ask questions and answers of guides, angels, ascended masters, and other multi-dimensional beings. So you can be rest assured that you can do that. So the Matrix, the personality that you've been given by this world, the personality that you've been given by this world, that is who you think you are, not the thinker, but who you think you are, is what he says the Matrix is, that made up reality, that you as a function of your will can begin to alter and change. Unfortunately, most of you get so entrenched in believing that you are the contents of your mind, that your thoughts in your mind are the only reality to believe, and nothing can be further from the truth. The information and ideas in your mind become amenable to change when you awaken to the understanding that that is simply information that you've acquired through the 5 physical senses, and that information, when compiled into a single structure called your personality, constitutes your matrix. So in reality, each and every one of you has your own version of the matrix that is unique and distinct to each of you, but there are many agreed upon illusions that you all share. These agreed upon illusions give all of you a consensus that certain things must be definitely true and therefore unalterable. Conditions such as gravity, conditions such as time and space, and yet many of you change time and space regularly in just the way you change the way you allow emotional energy to flow through your body. The moment you assume an authority over your thought realm, the moment you begin to question it, reevaluate it, the moment you begin to change and alter the energy that is combined with those thoughts in your system, that is the point where you begin to break free from your matrix. This personalized reality that all of you have in your own individual ways, but also collectively. There is a collective agreement in consciousness as well, where groups of you agree in certain fundamental realities that, again, are simply a reality that you choose to agree upon. Just like you agree that the name you have is who you think you are. So when someone says, hey, John, hey, Mary, hey, Betsy, and you go, oh, that's me, and you think that is you, that is simply the name, the consensus name that you've agreed to. You've agreed by consensus that that name is you because everybody around you calls you that name, so that must be you. And I say to you now, that is not you. It is simply the consensus personality that you have that allows you to interface or interact with everybody. And everybody concedes or has a consensus that that is the reality that you are. And so you find yourself trapped in the reality of who everybody agrees with that you are and who you agree with that you are. But the moment you begin a process of self-analysis, begin to examine your thoughts, examine your emotions, examine what you are feeling. The minute you begin that process, you can begin to evaluate thoughts, emotions, and whether they constitute what you wish your consensus reality to be? Do you agree that the reality that is in your mind is the only one? Then you will live with that reality. And many of you have done this for many lifetimes, finding yourself experiencing the same reality over and over and over again. Many of you trying to leave the body prematurely in hopes that you'll get away from the reality that you've been consenting with. No, you cannot do that. If you consent to a reality as being the reality, then you will return to that reality, because that is what you have agreed to. The moment you begin to question, alter, and change the reality that you've agreed to, you begin to change the reality that you exist in. It is how some of you can change from one state of being into another, from one job to another, from one relationship to another. You have a moment where you change the consensus in your own mind about what you think reality is. This doesn't feel right to me. I need a change, you say in your mind, and suddenly your reality changes. Likewise, you do the same thing with time. You alter time by your feeling state. A state of joy and excitement and enthusiasm can often accelerate your experience of time. And some may question, well, that does not change the way time works. And I would simply say to you, it changes the way time works for you when you do that. And when you are not so uplifted in energy and you are lower vibrationally, you are in your sadness, you're in your depression, you're in those energies, then time becomes very slow and tedious from that energy of emotion. But at any time you can alter and change energy in the form of emotion as a function of your will. Trying to change an emotion by force or by substance is not going to give you the understanding that you have that you yourself are capable of altering energy. The mere pulling of your attention away from a certain emotional quality and placing it upon the possibility of a new emotional quality begins a shift, a movement away from, instead of a conflict with, you move away from the conflict, you move towards a new idea. So there's no more adding to that which does not serve you. And as you begin to experience the shift in your emotional energy, you begin to feel yourself awakening. When you become the conscious agent of your own conditions of transformation and change, you break free of this matrix, this generated personal reality that you believe is you. And the moment you're able to deliberately and intentionally do that, you begin to experience what many of us know of as freedom, where you're no longer bound by the fears, the uncertainties, the guilt, the shames of what was before, and you restore yourself to what is called in many languages being in the present moment, or the eternal present, or the here and now, or the I am that I am. You return yourself to the state of being here and now, no longer defined by what was before, but letting the being that you are define what is. And there's a difference between you defining what is by the nature of what you are as consciousness, as a creating intelligence, versus being what you are based on what you remember, what you know, what you think, based on what you've been given to think in your mind by your environmental conditions. As you begin to find liberation, you begin to find liberation from your thoughts. You begin to find liberation from your emotion. And that does not mean to suppress or ignore or deny or defer them. It literally means to transform them, to transcend them, to create a wholly functioning consciousness that is by your design. That is by your design. You design your own personalized reality that reflects most effectively what you are, and you get to define what you are. We would not define what you are. We will simply illustrate some of the ideas and concepts that will allow you to begin to make considerations in that direction. But ultimately, anyone who will tell you who you are is in error, for they would be defining you, when it is you that must learn to define yourself, what it is you think you are, what it is you think you will feel, what it is you think you will be. These are elements of creation that you yourself must define. And if you're going to subjugate yourself to the influences and dictates of others' ideas and conceptions, then do so with great care, and pray then that their conceptions and perceptions of you are much higher than your own is of yourself. For a true teacher, a true mentor, a true guide would do this. They would assist you in finding a higher perspective of perceiving yourself, never a lower or lesser perspective. And so there's this great movement of energy coming into this physical dimensional planet that affords all of you the opportunity to access and utilize qualities of energy and consciousness in the function of reformulating your identity to become more accurate to the nature of what it is. And the nature of what it is something that you will know when you experience it. For the nature of a free mind is that of joy, excitement, passion, creativity. The nature of a mind that is free is these things: joy, playfulness, compassion. Yes. We are entering a very powerful time. They keep telling me this over and over and over again. We're entering this incredible time where we do not have to be subjective to the old self, to who we've been made up to be by the world. And one of the reasons that this information is being released to everybody from many different angles, many different schools and teachings all around the world are rising up, and the truth of what they know is coming out. And the reason this is happening is because the old self cannot sustain anything new, because the old self, the personality that we're used to being, can only sustain and maintain that which already is, what it's already familiar with. But this process of ascension, where you get a chance to awaken yourself, to differentiate yourself from your thoughts, your memories, your emotions, to make that distinction in who you are as a being, not as a personality. You see, the personality is meant to serve the being. The being is not meant to be imprisoned by the personality. And as you come to this awareness, you learn to utilize these energies. You begin to examine your thoughts. You begin to learn how to alter and change emotional energy. You begin that process. You begin to find freedom. And freedom is an effect of your own consciousness being liberated from the confines of information that has restricted you to being finite. You must understand this, that you are not who you think you are, but you are what you think. And you are also the one that chooses what you will think or not think. Yes, I understand. And so we have it, all of this wonderful, wonderful change coming into our planet through this information that's being made available to all of us, not some of us, all of us. You know, this wonderful technology called the internet has really afforded us the opportunity to share information in a scope and on a scale that has never been done before. Master Jesus says if he had had this type of technology 2,000 years ago, there was a limited version of it then. But he said if this type of technology existed then, this world would be a completely different vision than it is right now. Yes. So here we are, folks. We're at this place. I want to say thank you, everybody, for coming by. I'm going to take a look at a few questions here and see what we have. Good morning, everybody. Hello, Judy. Hello, Nancy. Hi, guys. We've got a question from Judy. What do I do to help myself in my journey at this time? I'll take all the help I can get. What's my gift that I can use and help others? I really don't know them. The first step for you, dear one, is to understand the nature of awakening yourself, to learn to make the distinction between thought, emotion, and body, to begin to make that distinction between thought, emotion, and body, to begin a process of evaluating your thoughts, their source and their origin. Many of you will find that most of the thoughts that you have in your mind are not even yours. You've been given those thoughts, and they lay unquestioned in how they affect your lives. And so you find yourselves in situations that may not be so desirable, not because there is something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with any of you, but that you have a fundamental acceptance of certain ideologies and beliefs that restrict you from fully comprehending the nature of who you are. So question the thoughts in your mind. Question the emotions you feel from a place of love, not from a place of attack. But examine most of the thoughts and emotions many of you feel are not even yours, and the emotions you are feeling are responses to the thoughts that you've been given, the judgments you've acquired, the information from this world. And many of you place your mind upon useless information and very unpleasant subjects. You watch many programs and you fill your mind with many ideas that are detrimental to the very thing you're seeking to be free from. You seek to be free from your suffering, and yet these ideas feed it. Many of these ideas that you see on your televisions and in your movie theaters, many of these things feed your fear. They feed your anger. They feed your guilt. They feed your shame. They feed your fear and mistrust of others. You must learn to question the thoughts in your mind and the thoughts you think and why you think them, where they originate from, and begin to release yourself from them. Begin a process of choosing to say, I will not fill my mind with mistrust. I will not allow thoughts of anger and fear to dominate my consciousness. You learn to then be selective about what you will allow in your mind. You become very careful. You begin to guard the gate of your temple and only allow in there what is good. Very great question. Thank you so much for that, Judy. Question from Vertical Connection. Mattia was very disappointed that of 30 invitees to his 18th birthday, only 6 confirmed. Prior to the celebration, he wrote through Page Essay, what is Metatron's advice? Rejoice in those 6. Rejoice in those 6. What greatness is the 24 that are missing? What value are they? It is the 6 that are there that are of value. Celebrate them. Let his heart be humbled and uplifted by their gratitude, their joining of him in his celebration. It is important for the times where you are supposed to be supported the most. Those who love you the most shall be with you, will they not? Those who love you will always be with you. Rejoice, for you will also find that there are many who will be of an acquaintance to you, but very few will be your friend. And the few friends you have will be worth many acquaintances that you will never have. Well, thank you. Question from Olena. What can one do who does not believe in angels or spirit beings to experience and start believing? Thank you so much. He's laughing and he's saying, you must understand the only way this one will believe is through their experience. Now, you may on their behalf request that they have such an experience. You may request on their behalf that they might have such an experience, but you cannot directly say to them, you must believe in these things or you must not believe in these things. You cannot do this. They must come to that understanding themselves. They will find their way. If they are resistant to something, it means it will come to them anyway. If they are resistant to something, they are calling it forth. If you are resistant to something, you are calling it forth. If they are resistant to this belief, they will call the experience forth, and they will have to reevaluate by their experience. But you cannot force one to accept what you believe, and to do such would be wrong anyway, to force another to accept what you believe, but to simply offer your belief to them and let them receive the gift or refuse the gift. You have lost nothing. You have lost nothing if they choose to refuse the gift. Wonderful. Thank you, Elena. Question from Nancy. I'm sitting outside, watching the rain and feeling at peace. Who is my guide I can call on to feel this more of the time? Especially in the rain, Pan is really, yes. You can call on Pan right now. The energy of Pan is very unique and distinct. And the rain is something that all the brownies, the fairies, the pixies, many other creatures love the rain. They love it because it brings so much. You're literally bringing energy from above to energy below. People don't understand the value of that. Like a foggy day is when the energy of the earth and the skies have united, and it's got a dimensional bridge between those two. Rain is a dimensional bridge as well between this dimension receiving and that dimension giving. And if you can identify with the essence of that which is coming down, you'll know what you're receiving. But Pan would really enjoy your connection with him right now if you want to do that. Thank you so much for that, Nancy. Question from Adam for Pan. How exactly does a fertility spell work in terms of how does it cause change from the astral integrate into the physical? Please explain the methodology of how this process works. So just so for those of you that are watching, what Adam's asking is what is the process by which an energy that at the moment of fertility, the moment the sperm and the ovum come together, what is the methodology by which a soul enters that? And the answer is very simple. It's a matter of resonance based on the DNA sequencing contained within the sperm and the ovum when they unite. When they unite, there's a DNA sequence that happens. And that DNA sequence is a frequency. And that frequency is an attractive force to that which is in harmony with it. That DNA frequency is an attractive frequency that pulls in that which is in harmony with it. In other words, every soul aligned to the body that's in genetic match for their vibrational frequency. And that's the truth for every one of us from the perspective of being a biological entity. You came into the biology that matched the frequency of that DNA. You came into that body. That's what pulled you in. Very fascinating. Thank you so much, Adam. Question from Ryan. Hi, Ryan. How did Metatron come by this name? Can they describe how they ascended to the angelic realm? And what does Metatron say the best method is to connect to their energy? He's saying, although you were asking 3 questions, there is one simple answer. The name is not as important as the vibration attached to it. The name is an effect of a vibration. So the name Metatron has a vibration that matches who I am. Matches who I am. Always the process of vibration matches it. If you understand, the speaking of a word establishes a frequency, and the vibration of that frequency is the gateway between the frequency of the name and that which it connects to. So when you speak a word, you are emanating a vibration that is in resonance with something or someone, sometime, some space, some dimension. If you understand this, then the function of speaking a word very mindfully, feeling its vibration, will afford you the opportunity to, somewhat like picking up a phone and dialing the number that matches that person you are seeking to communicate with. So too, the name is not as important as the vibration that's being transmitted by it. Focus on the vibration, not so much on the linguistics of the word, but the vibration that that linguistics gives rise to will allow you to connect to the essence of my energy in that context. And the same principle is true for you, is it not? It is not so much the name of your being, in this case, Ryan. That vibration of that name allows me to connect to you directly, because it is a frequency that you are attuned to from this physical dimension. Although it is not the essence of who you are in truth, it is simply what allows us to connect. But you may use the word as a form of attuning yourself to the frequency. Wow, thank you, Ryan. Great question. I got a question from somebody on TikTok. What are my guides telling me now? Any messages from my dad? Whoa. I'm getting this energy coming in from your father, and he's saying, I love you so much. I love you so much. And this is something that's quite common when you understand, yes, there's just so much love for you. And he's saying from here to here to here. He's saying this, he's saying from here to here to here. Yes. Yeah, as far as your guides, and your father is one of your guides, just so you know that. I think you already know that. He tells me you already know that. But the energy, when you really feel, not so much remembering dad as the biological entity, because when the human individual, when the soul leaves the mind and body, their frequency changes. There's a shift in your frequency when you leave the physical body. And so when you speak his name or you remember him as a being, you're connecting, trying to connect to the energetic memory system of him. But if you feel him as a vibration and not as a memory, you'll start to feel his presence with you more frequently. Like, feel him as a vibration, not so much as a thought or a memory, and you'll start to connect to him. Thank you so much for your question. Got a question from another TikTok user. Question they're asking is, they're trying to answer on topic questions. No. Yes, I got you. Thank you so much. Can I see that? Oh, yes. So a lot of people ask this question, and they always give me the same answers. Will people come back? Do people come back in a body? Yes, but they will not come back as the same personality, because when you come into a physical body, the world creates a new personality for you, and you lose yourself in that personality. Most people don't know anybody anyway. Very few people actually know somebody else. Everybody knows the personality, but very few of us actually know the person. And I'll tell you something, when somebody knows you and they really connect to who you are as a being, not as a personality, that's where love originates. Love originates when someone really sees the essence of who you are as a being. But yes, everyone, no, not everyone, they said, most people come back because they're attached to their personal identity self. So they come back to get themselves liberated from it. But you might come back as a different personality. You will. You can't come back as the same personality. Nobody can come back as the same personality. You can come back as the same being, like Master Jesus comes back as the same being, but his personality is somewhat more evolved each time. And that's true for you. But everyone has the opportunity to come back. Some will not come back when they complete this journey. There are some that complete the journey. Many of the Eastern mystics want to get off the wheel of life and death, so they want to evolve beyond time, space, and matter. Great question. And thank you. Let's see, we got a super chat here. Thank you. Luz de Luna, thank you for that super chat, 1111. So she's asking any message for me. I don't know why they're saying, but I'm getting this, like there is if you have a piece of obsidian, you want to place the obsidian just below your atlas joint, and you want to tilt your head up slightly, and you want to concentrate on what comes down into the third eye, and the third eye is not, well, they say it's here. The third eye is actually the pineal gland, the gland that's in the central part of your brain. That's where the third eye is. So when you put that obsidian there and you tilt your head up, pay attention to the space in the very geographical center of your brain, where that organ called the pineal gland is, and just allow the energy that comes down to interact with it, and pay close attention to the sensation that happens in that space when you do that. So it's black obsidian you want to use for that. Yeah, that's what they're telling me. Yes, thank you. Question from Daniela. Do the masters also retrieve part of their knowledge from the Akashic realm, or will they always, or are they all knowing no matter what? On the path to when they reach that place where they get to the unified state of consciousness with the oneness, there's no need for a personality from that perspective. Then they are simply being the divine. From the perspective of being able to relate to individuals in this physical dimension, then yes, sometimes it is necessary that you have a personality. But we find ourselves that we are not subjective to it, as many of you find yourselves. We utilize it for the function of our consciousness, not to remain subjective to it. We do not allow our consciousness to be subjective to divinity, right? We allow our divinity to be subjective to our consciousness, and that influences the form and structure of the personality and how it works. We direct the personality, it does not direct us. But if you come into a body, you must have somewhat of a personality. You must have some awareness of individuality, some degree of separateness. In order to be here, you must have some degree of separateness from that which made you. Wow, great question, Daniela. Love that. I got one more question here from Adam. Can I get more information on who was the beautiful woman I saw in my mind's eye the other day? What type of spirit was she, and who is she exactly? What was she trying to tell, and what does she want from me? It's not, again, so many of us are trying to find, from a personality, we're trying to figure something out. But this one is saying to you, it's not so much trying to grasp the essence of that as a separate individual, but feel the vibrational exchange that occurred. The understanding you're seeking isn't in that which you get from them, but in the connection with them. In that exchange, the truth of what you're seeking will only be found in that space. It will not be found in your hoping to get something from that individual. You already received it, and you still think you have to get it from her. You were so moved by that exchange of energy between the two of you. You were so moved by that you want more of it. But if you go to the essence of the exchange, then you will discover that which was offered, you now possess. It is within you to be that. It is within you to experience that. It is within you to know that. Wow. Wonderful, guys. I'm really excited. I hope you guys are going to join me this Wednesday. I'm going to have my guardian angel John, and we're going to be talking about restoring the body, restoring your body, how to begin that process of restoring your body. So I hope you'll join me on Wednesday, which is the 21st of September 2022. I want to thank my TikTok family, my YouTube channel subscribers. I want to just thank my Facebook group for, again, joining this event today. And remember, Fridays, every single Friday, we do a live Q&A, and it's all Q&A for you guys. We've changed the format of this, so come Friday if you've got questions or concerns you want to offer, because oftentimes the questions you have to offer others will liberate others from their suffering when the answers come through some of your guides and your angels and the other multidimensional beings. I want to thank the Father of the person that came to me today to offer that message. Thank you so much for your grace. I appreciate that. And know that wherever you are, love is never, ever far from the present moment. So guys, thank you so much for coming out today. I think we got everything. And again, join us on Wednesday, the 21st. Have yourselves a wonderful and a joyful day. And I will see you guys on Wednesday. Much love. And thank you, Metatron. Bye, everybody.